Right, well, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us today to learn how to beat the crypto crooks. My name is Claire Cummings. I'm joined today by Rob Moore from Mick Mark. As Rob goes through and tells you more about the work that he does at the moment, you'll understand why he isn't going to show his face. If you want to know more about Rob and his work to date, then as we get to the end of the presentation, you'll be able to see his bio. And we'll send the presentation around to everybody as well. So again, thank you very much for joining. My name is Claire Cummings and I'm the managing partner of Cummings Pepperdine. And we specialise in providing legal services to people in alternative investments, in particular crypto. But as well as me and my team of lawyers, we also help with tax and FCA and regulatory solutions. In fact, one of our lawyers is qualified both as a solicitor and a chartered accountant. He specialises in crypto tax. So we're able to provide a wraparound service for anybody starting up in this area. I'll pass over now to Rob to tell you a bit about Mick Mark. And then what we'll do is we'll give you a few tales of some money that we've hopefully worked on recovering so far, and then we'll go through our presentation. We'll take questions. So, Rob, yep. The ghostly presence in the background. Tell us all about Mick Mark and your activities in crypto and acting on the side of the angels.
Certainly. So, Mick Mark means military to market, veteran known, veteran run. I'm ex-British Army. You can see from my bio. Left about 12 years ago and went into sort of the murky world of the corporate security. I run the intelligence department for Mick Mark. I'm also COO for Namian Services, which is our digital asset security sort of crypto spin-off company we've got. But here today we'll talk about Mick Mark and what we do. So we're a security company, broken down to sort of various parts, doing CCTV access control, big large-scale projects. And at my department, the intelligence department, we do a lot of due diligence and sort of fraud investigations and that sort of thing. And I've been working at Mick Mark for sort of 3 years or so now. And we've got a relatively small team. And prior to sort of the COVID era, most of our due diligence work was, companies falling out with other companies or internal disputes with directors and general sort of areas of fraud and that sort of thing. But what we noticed in around sort of, especially beginning of COVID, was we're getting more and more requests to look into crypto scams. And since then, it's become rife. We are constantly getting requests for whereby people have unfortunately fallen foul to various types of scams. But what we've noticed, and I'll talk through more as we go on with the presentation, is a sort of similar sort of modus operandi what they do to illicit funds from people.
Well, it might be worth if I could maybe Rob and I will talk about sort of two particular areas where we have a number of mutual clients. One is where we have clients who are in the investment management sector generally, and we work with them and a custodian to ensure that all their crypto assets are held within with an FCA regulated wallet provider, that they're dealt with through an exchange, that they're dealt with also properly through somebody's regulated exchange, and we assist on the safeguarding of their assets in a particular way. And it's something that Mick Mark and Namian do to military grade security, which is particularly useful. But the other thing that we work on with is where people have fallen victim to a crypto scam, and we try and help people recover their money. So Mick Mark comes in and tracks down where the assets are, the proceeds of crime, and then we act with chambers to go in front of judges for freezing orders and so on. We had a particular success on Monday where we were in front of where the barrister was in front of a judge, and we had a freezing order and an injunction and I think a request for discovery, which is quite groundbreaking legally, and obviously can't say anything about at the moment. But it's important. I think what's important is to show that we really, there is always help out there. So first of all, I was going to ask Rob if, as we turn to tactics of a crypto scammer, maybe Rob, you could tell us a little bit more about one of your clients, maybe somebody we both, or let's have a rollicking story with a bit of feel good at the end.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. So the way they entice people onto their platforms. So generally, it's either a fake trading platform or some sort of fake mining scam. The way they entice the victims on there is through a number of ways, but it's either fake adverts, seen on MSN, for example, fake reviews, especially on the likes of Trustpilot, and also quite a substantial way of doing it is through fake profiles on dating apps such as Facebook Dating and Tinder. So the dating side of things is quite large, where they'll connect to people. There will be no sort of interaction in terms of voice comms or anything like that. It's all done, how people communicate nowadays through instant messaging, and there'll be a little bit of chatter before they try and entice the victim onto their fake trading platform or fake mining scam.
And what we found as well with one particular person that we worked with, who in the webinar we did on crypto and money laundering earlier in the month, I referred to as that's all ongoing but having good results. I referred to him as Adrian. It's not his name, but it's my brother's name. I do like to get a dig in there if I can. He actually went in, he exchanged his money by an FCA regulated exchange provider. Yeah. But then he was scammed by somebody on the other side and sent his money out of that regulated exchange provider into a wallet that wasn't regulated by the FCA. Yeah.
So the way they'll do it is once they've got you enticed and can convince you to invest in their trading platform or mining scam, whatever it is, go from fiat to say Bitcoin or USDT seems to be the weapon of choice at the minute. And like I said, you'll transfer from their personal wallet, from a legitimate exchange, onto the scammer's wallet. And now then the money will suddenly appear in the fake trading platform or the mining scam. And then the victim then thinks they're trading and sort of doubling their money and that sort of thing. And it's almost like the hook is there. And they'll keep investing.
And once they're hooked, they're fed. They're fed. I mean, it's the most sophisticated type of grooming, isn't it? I mean, they work on all sorts, people's terror, people's desire to get back what they think they've lost. They will come up with the most complicated reasons, tax, or we need this bit more to get your money back. They're absolutely wicked in what they do, but also, Rob, that's not all the wickedness. Before we go on to how we tackle this and how people can hopefully get their assets back, could you say something about where the proceeds of crime generally goes to?
Certainly. I mean, we just sort of scratched the surface of this, but when we do the asset identification for hopeful retrieval, IG, the blockchain analysis, there's plenty of red flags whereby these wallet addresses that have been used by the scammers are associated with ransomware or other types of cybercrime, and the worst type is associated with human trafficking.
Human trafficking and child pornography as well, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And also linked to state-sponsored, funding the likes of what's going on in Ukraine for Putin's war, directly associated with his generals and that sort of thing. That's how they're moving money around, especially, and making a lot of money from these scams.
So more reason to only ever use an exchange and a wallet provider who is FCA regulated, and more reason if you do find that you've come a cropper, and there's no shame in falling for a scam, because as I say, the level of sophistication these people it's just astonishing. But come to us and Mick Mark and we'll try and help you get everything back. So the last thing on this slide, Rob, we've talked about withdrawal fees.
Yeah. So this is whereby the penny starts to drop, whereby or the victim tries to withdraw some money, some of their winnings, so to speak, because they may have invested 100 grand and they think they've earned $1 million in a matter of weeks. Think, great, happy days, let's withdraw some. All of a sudden, these spurious extreme withdrawal fees suddenly appear. They weren't in the T's and C's or mentioned at all on the onboarding process, and they could be in the tens of thousands. And unfortunately, some victims, all this is just a ruse to get more money out of the victim. But unfortunately, many people will keep going and keep going and keep going. And even after the penny has dropped and they realise it's a scam, and they've come to us and yourselves, there's still like a glimmer of hope whereby they'll say to us, what about if we still give them some money? Seem very nice on the phone, perhaps it will work. Absolutely not. No, stop. Hard stop. Don't give them any more money, because it's just a way to get more.
But at the same time, don't let them know that we're onto them. Keep them talking, keep them thinking that actually you're working with them, because if they know that we're trying to find you, then they will go further and further undercover. So if we move on now to our next slide, and we've talked about the tactics, we're going to talk now about how the investigation. So say, for example, Adrian or somebody has come to us and we've put them in touch with you, and we're now working together. Could you go through the sequence of events on that, and how we can help people?
We'll have an initial chat, and we'll have a sort of an onboarding process whereby we have to know everything that's happened. Just makes our life easier, and try and map out in sort of chronological order how it started and where they are now, and essentially how much money they've sent to the scammers, and who they've been communicating with, what forms of communication, because it just helps lay out, because as I was talking about, the report we do will be in a sort of three-phase process: sequence of events, prove it's a scam, and then the blockchain analysis to assist with hopefully asset identification for retrieval.
Perfect. And then how do you prove that the scam has occurred? So the money has gone, say it's gone into a regulated exchange, it's now gone into the scammer's wallet, so it's now proceeds of crime. But if I was a scammer, I'd be saying, yeah, but I asked them and they said yes.
Okay, so what we go after here is whereby they've made lots of mistakes, the sort of tradecraft failures of the scammers. We take a deep look at the website. And quite often these websites are cut and paste, and they're used in numerous other scam websites, whereby we'll see other sort of scam alerts and other reports where other people have lost money, substantial amounts of money, to said website. The facts, there'd be things missing in the terms and conditions. There'd be loads of spelling mistakes, because English was necessary.
So these things are, if a document or a WhatsApp or something looks as if it's gone through Google Translate, then I can promise you it has done, hasn't it?
Absolutely. And it's, one example is the CEO of one of these websites. Was actually a picture of Roseanne Barr, the comedian from you couldn't make it up. And the reason they get so cocky and make these mistakes is because they're getting away with it. So they can bang out these websites in quick succession and have hundreds, thousands of them, and just cast the net nice and wide, because they're getting away with it.
But all of this helps when counsel is up in front of a judge. And Tommy Jones suddenly bears an uncanny resemblance to Roseanne Barr.
Exactly. It just starts to look borderline ridiculous on some of it. But we absolutely tear the website apart and look for other evidence of where other people have been ripped off, which invariably is the case. And even if not the website direct itself, but if it's a clone of another website, and we'll demonstrate that it's been a clone, we can say, look, this website is part of a network of tens, hundreds of other websites that are doing the same thing, using exactly the same template, poor grammar, etc. And also the fake reviews as well. They'll cut and paste the fake reviews because they're lazy from Trustpilot onto all these other sites, and you can just and the grammar is that bad, it's almost like code. It can't be a coincidence. It's that horrendous.
And can I ask, as the number of crypto scams is increasing, it really is apace. Are you and we know that the level of sophistication of the scammers is also increasing. Are you finding that the way they scam is changing, or is it other similarities? There's only one way of getting the money out of an FCA regulated wallet into something else.
It's very little overheads for them. All they're going to have is a website, a few crypto addresses, and a sales team, an aggressive sales team using VoIP numbers. And these sales teams are quite often English people, English speaking, but very, very aggressive. So once you're in, they will hound you. It doesn't matter if it's an old age pension or anything like that. They will go to town on you to try and convince you to keep you going.
Day or night, saying anything to keep you in, give you more money, using terror threats, as well as
are we going to lose all your money?
False inducement.
So it's cost-wise, it's just a few people probably doing the same across a number of websites, all with different aliases and that sort of thing. but they're covering their tracks in the sense of they're using not real phone numbers, they're using VoIP numbers and sort of.
Yeah. No, we've had one person. They used sort of the tax, what I call the tax scam on them. They said, well, we're actually doing all your tax returns for you. Obviously, it'll cost you so much money if you don't. But if you don't, because nobody else understands crypto tax, apart from our Barry, of course. So we will do that for you, but we'll need some more money in because you're going to have to pay this over to the Inland Revenue. And so then, could you explain? Could you talk me through it? Oh well, I'll get our director of finance or whatever to call you. So then somebody else rings up with a different name and a remarkably similar voice and just says, well, it's so complicated, you wouldn't understand it, but it's because it's so complicated, we're the only ones that can do it for you and make sure that actually your tax is scrupulously up to date so the tax man doesn't come after you. And that's why we're asking you for this money, because we want to make sure the tax man is paid. And so that is another one. So once we've got, people have come to us, we've worked out that there is a scam and we feel there's enough evidence to prove it. The next thing, of course, is there's no point doing all of that if you can't actually find if you can't find the assets.
Indeed.
So how do you go about that, and how are you able to give anybody a degree of likelihood of at least identifying them, the freezing and the returns later?
Yeah, exactly. So it won't. So they'll put it on go from the scammer's address, and pretty much every time there'll be intermediary addresses where they'll move say in this case Bitcoin, for example, they'll move the Bitcoin around, maybe split it up, and that's when we start to see, okay, this isn't just one sort of chain as such. It'll be associated with a number of other addresses which we research, and they'll be associated with other types of scams, ransomware or other elements of cybercrime. But they can't keep it on the blockchain forever. They need to cash out at some point because they want to spend their money. And at that point, they need to go to an exchange. So they'll go to an exchange and cash out from there, convert to fiat or maybe another type of crypto. That point where they cash out, the address beforehand in the chain, we call the last hop address, that's the one of interest. If it's got any money in it, I appreciate that at the blockchain, it's only the snapshot in time. But if it's got any money in it, fantastic. Even if not, there'll be KYC details of that, which the exchange will know who that person is. Should do if their KYC is properly done.
So what we're really saying is that any crypto exchange which is FCA regulated under the 5th Money Laundering Directive has to have proven to the FCA to get their license, or their registration rather, that they are able to carry out all necessary anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing checks and keep the money safe. And part of that is KYC.
Yeah.
So the exchanges, to an extent, will hold the key here.
Yes.
Yeah.
However.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. If the rest are irregular, it's easier. But yeah. So that's so we've now sort of followed the assets. We know exactly what they are and where they are, and the ones that haven't been turned into a fiat currency.
Yeah.
This needs to be reported, and it's generally, I think it's the report which goes to clients and also is sent on to council if it looks like it's worth going ahead and trying to go to court for freezing and return of assets.
Exactly, yeah.
Could you tell us a bit more about what's in that report?
So again, it's sort of broken down to 3 phases. The sequence of events to sort of tell the judge, look, this is what's happened. This is how it started, and this is how much money has gone, and this is the website used, etc. Telling the sort of story. Second phase is the prove it's a scam, and it was not just a bad trade, for example, which we have had. We've had a client come to us and say, oh, I've been scammed, blah, 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 looked into it. Unfortunately, it was just a little bit slightly wonky, but actually it was fine. Sorry, but you've lost 80 grand or whatever. So we have to demonstrate it's definitely a scam. And then the third phase of the blockchain analysis is go, look, this is where the money's gone. These are the addresses of interest, and this is the exchange of interest where you need to sort of steer council to go after, or the courts go after.
Gotcha. And that evidence report is very useful as you go through, right? So that then takes us to the court process, doesn't it? So to go to court, to go in front of a judge, you have to instruct counsel for that. So that's where we would go to a set of barristers' chambers and go to specialists on this. I think I'm right in saying, aren't I, Rob, that the judiciary in the UK at the moment is mightily unhappy at the current use and the prospect of future use of the UK as a jurisdiction for crypto scams, and is proving, while always fair, is certainly proving willing to consider the options and act in favour of those who have been scammed.
Absolutely.
And I guess part of that is because the evidential report is so strong. These things don't, these people, they're both hugely sophisticated, but they're actually also clowns, aren't they, in a way?
Yeah, they make loads of mistakes.
Yeah. So then, at the point then when we go to instruct counsel for this, and so we just had a question. Thank you. What I think I might do, it's okay with you, if everybody could pop their questions on the chat, and then we can go through them at the end. So we go to counsel. Yeah.
Okay. So the evidential report, again, from mine and the team's military background, ensure the intelligence is 100% accurate. I have to sign the date and say, yeah, everything in here is 100% accurate. Otherwise, we're prepared to go to prison for it. And we will make it nice and clear and clearly signpost what we're finding and identifying, because, not sounding cocky, some of the judges may not be from technical backgrounds. I mean, not fully understand the crypto process and that sort of thing, and how this works, and the technical things we're trying to bring across about how.
Well, lots of people don't, which is, I mean, it is highly technical. Even, you know, the technicalities of it are so sophisticated. Lots of people who are professional advisors in crypto don't understand it, and that's why these scammers are able to be so
exactly. So make it as clear and as legible as possible to ensure, the accuracy is 100%, because you don't want any of this coming back on us or making any mistakes in any way, shape, or form.
Good. And then we go for a date. What's the timing on that generally? We were talking earlier about one case in which it was quite swift, and certainly the hearing on Monday that you had with counsel.
Sure.
I think you first started speaking to them, I think it was February, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago, end of Feb.
So that's just been sort of under a month.
Yeah.
What generally is the timeline from gathering the evidence and being able to get a date?
Okay, so one example, we in sort of before Christmas, where I first spoke to the client / victim, we got a court date within a couple of weeks, and then from there we got the money back in 2 weeks, so 4 weeks in total from flash to bank, from being a first alert to money coming back.
And tell us about the sort of the approach of the courts in finding you a court space so quickly.
It's down to sort of counsel side of things, but from our side of things, we assist. The evidential report may have to be back and forth a few times for the barrister to be completely happy. But then the court process, just before the barrister goes in, we'll give them a bit of an update on the blockchain, especially in case money has moved or there's been any other changes in any way, shape or form in the go. And then hopefully within a couple of hours they'll be out and freezing orders issued and that sort of thing. Yeah. And away they go.
And fortunately, it's proving that the courts are fairly open to giving. They understand that the speed with which assets can be moved means that time is precious, and they're quite speedy with getting a hearing date on it.
Yes, yeah. And then sort of next stage is hearing back from the exchanges. Now I'll probably be careful not to name the two main exchanges that are involved in crypto scams.
Probably best, yes.
But they will sometimes
alleged to be that sometimes the evidence points towards AML checks could have been a bit more thorough.
Yeah, and the KYC is pretty poor, if not non-existent. They will push back, sometimes with some quite big hitters. But at the end of the day, we're on the right side of the law, and they have to adhere to it. And hopefully we'll get the KYC details back from that last top address or addresses, which would be the sort of normal sort of KYC checks, which depending on the exchange should have some form of a selfie, proof of address, email address, phone number, bank account, and that sort of thing.
Passport, driver's license.
Yeah, that sort of thing. But unfortunately, what we've seen is evidence of fake IDs and burner email addresses and that sort of thing.
And how easy is it for somebody to come up with a fake ID, a burner email address, and it's seen to the exchange to be absolutely valid?
I mean, for one case example, we saw a Russian driving license, which I could go online now and get for 200 quid. But the driving license, we could zoom in, we could see a number of errors. It was clearly fake, and the person holding it, we have no idea if that person is the name on the thing. Especially if the driving license is looking fake. Yeah. Most likely, it could be anyone who's given a few pictures.
So they could be holding it. It's a fake one.
Yeah.
And it's in the Cyrillic alphabet.
Yeah.
So
it could be any Tom, Dick, or Harry behind it as well. Just being paid money by the scammers to have his picture taken with said fake driving license.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. It's not very.
And are some of the fakes actually fairly good fakes? So to be fair to all the parties involved in this, and the exchanges and everybody, it's actually fairly hard to tell, or is that a bit of a crack in the system?
Perhaps just come from our background, we tore it apart quite easy, and in some of the exchanges, or one of the exchanges in particular, there's no pictures at all. It's just an email address, phone number, bank account, no address. That was about it.
So the KYC really is crucial. So, and again, something else for people to think about is that if you're not put through a rigorous KYC process when you open your wallet or you go to an exchange, then they're clearly not putting other people through it. So
exactly.
Do you really want to be exposed to the weakest link?
Yeah, exactly. And on the flip side of that, we have actually had real KYC because we've managed to, through OSINT, find out who these people are. I get one.
Explain OSINT.
OSINT, open source intelligence. So what was out there already in the internet for us to find, which may not be easy, but we can get to it. And we found that a certain individual, their LinkedIn profile was like a career criminal history. That arrogant that every single thing they had on their LinkedIn profile was a scam. Quite unbelievable, quite shocking. And this person is involved with crypto money laundering associated with human trafficking.
Wicked. So the asset retrieval, this is the key thing.
Yeah.
Getting it back.
Yeah. So,
and I think it might be worth just to say that there was a case that was in 2019 which said that actually electronic money or utility tokens have to regard crypto assets are seen as not just a string of numbers, they are seen as actual property which can be retrieved and given back, and it was new at that point, but it's opened the floodgates to the chances of stolen crypto assets being returned to their owners because of this categorization of them, this legal categorization. Yeah. So that legality side. So the asset retrieval.
Yeah. So one case where that one I mentioned earlier, the 4 weeks, the scammers actually basically threw the money back as quick as they could. I don't think they wanted any media attention and that sort of thing. So they gave it back. So because in the grand scheme of things, they're making so much money, the amount we're asking for back was nothing. I mean, just one example, one Bitcoin address in 3 months made $17 million worth of Bitcoin in 3 months. And that was associated with many other addresses we were seeing. So they're making a lot of money from this. So we come along and ask for 700 grand, it's nothing to them.
Yeah, it's easier for them to just give it
to go away, sort of thing,
to just give it back.
Yeah.
And I guess the thing is that they're also now they're sort of on the radar that they're still making 70 million, but hopefully they're weakened by the whole process. Yeah. And the people who are groomed and are thieved from.
Yeah.
Who are the victims of this crime.
Yeah.
That's also something which shouldn't be forgotten. It's not just about the asset retrieval, it's about the people who maybe can't get their assets back or don't get all of them.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a bit more about the support of victims that's available?
So this is something we've been identifying a sort of pattern with our clients, just victims. Is, as I mentioned earlier, there's still this sense that they still believe and still are in the sort of.
It's a circle of sort of, you want to believe it's true, therefore you do. You want to trust, therefore you do. And also, what other way out is there?
Yeah,
I think it's the closing of doors for any other way out, which is.
And also, I mean, unfortunately, some of the people running through dating apps, even though they've not met these people or spoken to them, it's all been through instant messaging. It's been maybe gone for a matter of months, and they've pretty much fallen in love with this sort of fake profile. And it's sort of happened to tell that person we've had to do before, but I'm really sorry, but this person is actually, a scammer from
So there's a terrible sense of shame,
yes.
even though they're not the ones who've broken the law.
And
they're
embarrassment,
not
sort of opened up their own hearts and that sort of thing, and allowed this person in.
Been very human.
Yeah, absolutely.
Been, like the rest of us.
And
as human as the rest of us.
Yeah, and just feel, absolutely sort of, oh my goodness, how did I let this happen? That comes across a lot as well. But we see people from all walks of life in terms of professional terms who have fallen to this. It's just so common. These scammers have locked onto something within sort of humanity, whereby they can sort of entice you in and just keep people going.
It's terribly
make
cruel,
so much money from it. It is.
Yeah.
It is. They'll wipe you out, absolutely.
And I think it's worth repeating it that people feel ashamed and embarrassed and because they're human, but they don't need to.
Yeah.
The victims are not the ones that committed criminal acts.
Yeah, absolutely. We're in communications with victim support to offer assistance to our own clients in the sense, because we don't want to see them beat themselves up over this, because we're just scratching the surface of it. The amount of money going through there's going to be so many people out there who don't know what to do, because they could go to the police and all they go to action fraud, they'll get a crime reference number. The analogy I give my clients is, if I put a ski mask on, grab a sawn-off shotgun, go into the local post office and get 15 grand out of the till, I'll have armed police, helicopters and all sorts all over me. If I do it online and make millions, no one's coming to me.
Yeah. I mean, it may just be worth mentioning as well, I don't know if anybody heard on, there's a Radio 4 programme Money Box, there was somebody there who was scammed very badly, that hopefully we can help, but the man lost everything and these people have no compunction.
And they, I mean, in so many sense, so something to add from earlier is the fact that some of these scammers have also got assets in the UK, whether it be companies and also companies registered to UK properties, which is also of interest. So we don't just look at asset identification in terms of crypto. If we can find anything physical to go after, we will. Yeah,
because the crypto has been taken out, turned into fiat, turned into another type of property, and so watches, houses, cars,
anything.
Anything. Exactly. So let's return to something slightly more positive. So next steps. So tell us.
Yeah, we need to sort of get the word out, I think, because we have a process that works, and it's just there's many people out there who could be completely unaware, who think they've lost everything and can't get it back. Well, if they come to us, potentially can.
Yeah.
We've done it, and the more we do, the better we get at it as well. We're learning what the enemy are doing, so to speak, their MO and their tactics, and we're one step ahead of them.
Yeah. So yes, if anybody knows of anybody who may have been scammed, do get in touch with us, get in touch with Rob. There is always hope. So if we now just sort of, my great big finger there, move on to some questions. If we start at the top, Rob, do you?
Was that ATM?
Stuart, who we know well. Hi, Stuart. Hiya. Your question is, what if they sell to an ATM retailer for cash? Could you prove that the Bitcoin has ended up being recycled by a crooked ATM firm?
It depends if it's gone, how it's got there, I suppose.
Well, also the FCA took action against the ATMs earlier this month. Okay. So if there's an ATM still going, then it's probably going to be crooked.
If you've got something in specific, I'll chat to you offline about that, because if they've got their own sort of wallet address that they've sent the money to, and I can see what exchange that's associated with, and link it to, from where it's been scammed to there, then potentially yes.
Yeah, so again, there's another one where there's hope. Yeah, and then Fred's asked what information you get from the Know Your Client disclosure.
Yeah.
And what success you have of finding the assets when you're following the trail after the first exchange.
Yeah, so in terms of KYC, as I mentioned earlier, was depends on the exchange. It can be a selfie with a Russian driving license that may or may not be real. A phone number, an email address, that's about it. But also is of interest is other crypto wallets associated with that account. So if the Bitcoin is empty, they may have like Ethereum, which has got a ton of money in it, which is also frozen, which could be potentially of interest for retrieval, which is another. But each exchange is different. And the second part of that question, what success have you found when following this trail of funds after the first exchange? Well, once it's gone through exchange, it's usually gone through like a tumbler or a mixer. So we don't see where it goes from there. So that's why that's our sort of port of call to go, right.
It's been placed, it's been layered,
Yep.
and now you go for it. Yep. So you go to the exchange, get
Yep.
the details you can, and then you follow it from there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever had any clients where it's just simply poof, not found anything, or?
Yeah, they split it up so much, broke it down to an extent that, and the KYC got back was so poor. That, yeah, it unfortunately couldn't do anything.
Yeah, so there are some like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Lindsay, you've asked about the difference between a bad trade and a scam. I think the difference really is a scam is dishonest. A bad trade is, well, everybody, you can be the wrong side of a trade altogether. But
yeah.
Is that Rob?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the scams we pick up on they're clearly scams. You can see the websites are horrendous, and also we look for evidence of other people who have also fallen victim to said website or clones thereof. Whereby they just cut and paste that website template, change the domain name and a couple of bits, but it is essentially, like I say, the grammar's that bad, it is 100%. That is the same.
I have to ask, that is always at the back of my mind here, is that there's some very, very sophisticated AML software out there. There are people who provide checking services that they can find if you nicked a Whisper bar for 10 pence when you were a child 20 years ago. Why don't the exchanges use these?
I don't know.
Why doesn't everybody in crypto?
Because they're making so much money.
Use those. Yeah.
Yeah, more or less, yeah.
I guess it's it. Yeah. That really brings on to sort of the next part of Lindsay's question. What lists do checkers and exchanges check against? I mean, I would say there are. If you look at the money laundering regulations, there are specific. It's quite detailed on the checks that have to be done, so they should all be followed. There are also two specific parts of it which apply to crypto, so they should be followed.
Yeah.
And I think this is really the point that the FCA make, which is, they have been telling people that they can't be authorised for a number of reasons, but one reason I think, which is probably quite valid, is that people haven't got the proper AML and CTC work in there. So I'd always start with the anti-money laundering regulations and what they see and the way they're taken in by the FCA. And Lindsay, if you want any help on that, that's something we've been doing with quite a bit of with clients recently who are applying to be registered, going through and putting in place some solutions to make sure it's all as automated as possible.
Yeah.
And then, sorry, Fred, let me pass over. I think maybe your question was perfectly formulated. It's me without my reading glasses, and I haven't read the question before. So I'll ask Rob if he could read the question.
Did you get information exchange disclosing the funds withdrawn on the account? Okay, yes, the account was empty, and yeah, do they let us know where it's gone? No, they didn't.
But they don't have to either.
They don't have to, because yeah.
And also there's GDPR which they can call upon, and yeah.
So unfortunately, yeah, no.
And sometimes GDPR is called upon when it doesn't really apply, and it's also called upon by the scammers as well, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So they know. So yeah, they may get away with it in a sense. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Right, Rob. Any last words for anybody?
I think it's it. If anyone wants to sort of reach out, if you've got any sort of clients or know anyone who's fallen foul to these, let me know, and we can see if we can help for sure.
Perfect, and I'll just put up here. There we go. That's all about Rob, and as we said, sort of a shadowy figure without his photograph, without his appearing at the webinar. And I think, I guess it's making a lot more sense now why you haven't done. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. We'll be sending round the slides, and hopefully if I haven't buggered up all the IT, we'll be sending round a recording as well. And if you have any questions or we can help with anything, please do get in touch.